Hi, Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts. I'm going to do a series of videos on rebuilding a 1920 carburetor. This is a Holley one barrel. This was in my pile of cores, and I've already taken the float bowl off, and if you look in there, you can see where the fuel has turned to varnish, and it's throughout the carburetor. It'll have to take quite a bit of cleaning to get it out. Anyhow, so on your 1920, these covers are the same as the 1904 one barrel, except that they have this little baffle in here that goes over the float. Anyhow, so as I say, I've taken the float bowl off already. I just wanted to inspect the inside, see if it was even worth rebuilding. And here we go. So we're going to start over here with the choke. Many of these are manual. This one happens to have an automatic choke. Not sure what this fits. I haven't looked yet. By the way, to find the carburetor kit for this, you really need to get the carburetor number to get the correct kit. Don't go by application. Almost anybody will sell you a kit by application, but who knows after all these years whether you have the right carburetor, or the original carburetor on that car. Plus, many vehicles came out with more than one carburetor number that use more than one kit. So you really need to go by the carburetor number, and on this particular carburetor you'll find the number stamped up here, usually right on top here of the main carburetor body. And so just jot these numbers down. When you look on my site, you can enter these numbers in the search box, click go, and it should find the kit for you. At any rate, that's where you find it. So the looks like this is a pretty simple setup here for the automatic choke. The housing's built in one piece. We're going to take this vent arm off next. By the way, when you're taking these things apart, I suggest you take a lot of digital pictures in case you have questions on where things go. I always do, even no matter how many of them I do. A lot of times I'll have questions on just exactly which way a part went on. I see my batteries are good in the camera. Great. Okay, so there's that right there. And and by the way, when I was looking at this thing, the throttle shaft's a little bit loose in here. So this is either going to take, I'm going to throw the body away, or I will put some bushings into it, and we won't know that until I get down to it. But looks like I might try to push it. So I'm going to turn this off a minute because I'm going to take out the needle and seat next, but I've already tried to loosen it and it's very tight, and I'm putting the vise away from the camera, and I'll come right back. Okay, I got the needle and seat loose. Apparently the last guy thought he should put a giant torque wrench on the thing. They don't really need to be that tight. Maybe I had trouble with it leaking. So this is a needle and seat, and this will come in the kit complete like that. Notice it has a washer on here, and my goodness, is it really messed up from being so tight. I'll probably run a file across the top of this and make sure it's flat when I go to put it back together. But anyway, that's the needle and seat. Yours could look a little bit different for your 1920, but it's basically it. And here's the float. This is a nitrofill float. I automatically throw these away and replace them. Now, these are no longer being produced. Just so happens that I bought quite a few of them when I found out they were. I just found my supplier had a bunch of them even after being discontinued. So I do have them for how long I don't know. Okay. It's your Economizer diaphragm. There's 3 screws, goes in the top. You can sure smell the varnish in this carburetor. When a vehicle sits around for several months, you can almost count on it getting varnished up, and it won't run right. And of course, at this point, whatever this came off of, well, look how sticky that was. Whatever this came off of, the gas tank would probably have to be removed and cleaned out. At least that's what I would do for sure. Otherwise, you get the carburetor all done and okay, I'll put this in the vise, but this top just comes apart. So you see, there's a gasket in, or not a gasket, but part of the diaphragm's in there. So just separate it right there. There's not a lot to this carburetor as far as what to take apart, because the body is, the main body is most of the carburetor. The throttle body and the I want to say float bowl, but basically this is part of it. It's all one piece. Okay, get all the screws loose. Just kind of pry it out a little bit. Holy smokes, that's ugly in there. Right here is your main metering jet, and the jet number will, this is a Holley, jet number will probably be stamped on the side, and I do carry these. You see there's a little check ball in there and it's spring loaded, and I see it's not moving either. And what this does is when the economizer comes down, when you lose vacuum at higher speeds, it pushes down on this and opens up that check ball and allows more fuel into the carburetor from the float ball. So here's the spring. This spring back here goes between the diaphragm and your economizer body here. And then we'll take this part off here. This is your actuator. You can still buy these new. Okay. And then the pump, accelerator diaphragm, whatever you want to call it. You see, this one is not going to come out any time soon. I will have to work on that to get it out. But basically, it's ready to pop right out now. You can see the shaft of it right there. So what I usually do is I'll take a punch and hit it back there for it to pop loose. But I see it's all varnished in there, so I'll have to work on that a little bit. Now let's take out the idle mixture screw. Okay, and inspect it. This part right here, this is what does the sealing. Make sure there's no grooves in it and that it's nice and smooth. If there's any kind of a groove, that means somebody tightened it down too tight and damaged it, and you'll have to replace it. Okay. Alright, so let's, I'm going to pull this throttle valve out. Takes there's just two screws holding it on. Take your time with these if they don't want to come right out. You want to work on them a little bit. It's worth it to take your time, because if you bust them, then you got to drill and tap, etc. So there's that. And that's all there is to pulling out the throttle shaft, except for this spring that's hooked on it. Okay, so there's the throttle shaft, and I'm going to inspect it to see if it's too worn right here, and this one is not, which is great. That means the worn part is right in here. And if these are loose, and keep in mind that they're not super tight, they can't be or it wouldn't turn. If these are loose, you're going to get a bit of a vacuum leak here, and you'll have a rough idle. So, and that happens quite often on these. Okay, so that's just no big deal. I won't need to show you to take that out. You simply remove it. And I usually don't take this off unless I have to. I'll probably take this choke off. Looks like somebody beat the heck out of it here, so I may have to, oh yeah, it messed with it. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off for a moment, and we'll come back. Okay, I got this accelerator pump loose in here, and here it is, and I want to be sure you see this, because it has a spring on it, you can see right here, and a little sleeve that goes over it, and although this one's frozen shut, what happens when you push on it, it compresses that spring, but it's not moving. It's going to have to, there's a little check ball in there that holds it all together. Let's see if I can persuade it just a little bit. And usually that check ball will fall out. I may have to clean it first, but you can see, just turn it over like that and move it, and there it goes. Check ball fell out. Keep in mind which size check ball that was, so when you have more than one in the kit, you know which one goes in there. So anyhow, so there's a spring. You see the indentation there where the check ball fits in, and it just kind of rides back and forth in there as the accelerator pump's moving. So there's a spring. Don't lose your spring. You can't buy them. Okay, so that's the accelerator pump assembly, and the next thing we'll take off is the choke. If you notice here, where's that thing at? Here it is. This had a clean out plug on it right here. I drilled it out, and somebody just beat the heck out of it. I have to clean it up real good and put a new clean out plug on it. It doesn't come in the kit, so unless you have a real reason to, I wouldn't take this part of it apart. Just make sure it's clean, unless there's something wrong with it. So But so you know how to do it, I will take it apart. There's 2 screws, and again, on these screws, take your time. If they don't come loose right away, which you usually do on these 1920s, work on them slowly so you don't break them off, and then you got a mess on your hands. I hate doing drilling and tapping stuff. Okay. So without bending anything, we got to get this thing apart in here. It's just a little arm that's hooked to it. You get it. There we go. Okay, so there's the choke valve, and then there's the choke piston. Okay, so now we can do a thorough job of cleaning it. Remember how that goes in there. This looks like a regular piston, actually. Okay, that little arm. And there you go. That's about all we need to take off. I'll take this off later. Anyhow, nothing's cracked, so we're going to go ahead and clean it. And a little word about cleaning, because this is the most important part of rebuilding a carburetor, is to be sure you soak it for a while to clean those passages out inside. Blow through the holes when you're done cleaning, and to make sure everything is open. By the way, the shaft will come out now just by taking this screw off. I'm going to leave it in there, it works just fine, and then it'll come all the way out in case you have to do something on it. But it's not a big deal. Anyhow, like I say, clean the passage. Don't run wires through it. Don't bead blast your carburetor. If you have soda blaster, that's okay, because the soda will dissipate with when you wash it again. So anyhow, that's about it. Just make sure it's clean. So that's a disassembly of it, and we'll clean it up and then we'll start assembling it.